good morning, good morning, good morning. I knew this would happen. This is Brenda Perryman again, and welcome to Brenda Perryman Show right here on TV 33, WHPR, Comcast 20 in Detroit. And what I have for you today is a guest. I've been waiting to meet her so long. Dr. Sabrina Jackson. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
How are you?
Oh, I am so excited to be here. I love your hair.
Oh, girl, I love yours. Yeah, I wish my braid grew in like this. Mine doesn't grow in like this. I'd look like a skunk.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah, I can't make that vogue. But you have a book that a lot of people have found very, very valuable. He is not a statistic. 12 Laws for Single Mothers Raising Black Males. What was your inspiration?
Well, people kept asking me, what did I do to create a Marcel Smith? Like, what happened that he was raised in a single family home? He had urban issues happen to him, like a lot of young
When you
males.
talk urban issues,
Got his car stolen from a basketball game. Someone stole his book bag and took his keys and took his car. Got stabbed in his senior year in high school.
where did he go?
He went to the Academy of Business and Technology.
Oh, my.
Yep, he sure did. By a girl.
You know, girls, I tell you.
So, he had all of those things happen, but he graduated valedictorian of his class. He is on a full ride scholarship, and his character as a person is just amazing. I tell him all the time, if he was not my son, he would be someone I wanted to know.
Right, right. He'd be your friend. You know,
He'd just be my friend.
I mean, that is a wonderful thing to be able to say. That if he wasn't my son, I'd still like it.
I still like him.
I mean, I'd want to know him.
Absolutely.
And that's what I did the single mother thing too. In fact, just before the show, that was my son who called me, probably with some blessing me out.
Uh-oh.
Because he went to University of Dayton. He's in their basketball. He's in the Hall of Fame for basketball.
Wow.
And they've been doing so well on the tournament. They beat Stanford last night, and they're going to the Elite Eight. And I texted him this morning because he's going to drive down to Memphis. He lives in Ohio. And I said, it's raining a lot down there. Why don't you take the airplane? You know, you can't stop being a mom, can you?
No, you cannot stop being a mom. But one of the things that I say in the book is that you have to learn to move from being the supervisor to the supporter.
I know.
So I can give a supporting statement, but they still get to make up their mind and do it their way.
Yeah, I know.
Absolutely.
I know. And I just always wish that they wanted in the spirit in which it's given.
Yes.
But before we go on about the book, I'd like to talk a little about you. Are you from Detroit?
I absolutely am from Detroit. I grew up.
All right.
Grew up on the west side of Detroit.
West side.
On Sorrento. I went to Schultz Elementary. I went to Beaubien Middle.
Wow.
And then I went to Cass Technical High School.
Of course, a technician.
CT. No.
I knew a technician.
Class of 84. Yes. So I am from Detroit and still live inside of Detroit. Yes, I do.
And after you graduated, what did you do?
I went straight to Eastern Michigan University.
My school.
Yes,
Oh, my goodness.
yes,
Girl, we
yes,
should have
yes.
been friends a long time ago.
Yes. And then I left there and went to Wayne State University.
Right.
Then I went to Capella University.
Oh, really? I
Yes,
heard
yes,
about
yes.
that.
Yes. So people could say, that online education, for some people, it really works. It really does. It does. So, and then I'm pitter-pattering around on a second PhD in strategic leadership from the Regent University.
When you say pitter-pattering, what do you mean?
I'll take a class here, take a class there.
Yeah,
I'm so busy.
You
just so
are
busy.
very
Just
busy.
very
And
busy.
prior to this book, I mean, I heard so many great things about you. You're an entrepreneur. You have other things going. Can you tell our audience about it?
Well, my business, Sabrina Jackson Enterprises, has 4 specific things that we do. I am a speaker by trade.
Right.
That's what I do. I am a motivational speaker, a MC. Anytime you need a speaker, you can call on me.
Right.
So I do training and things of that nature, corporate and churches and every place that there are people. And then our second umbrella is I do business consulting. And then I am still a counselor. I mean, that's my trade. That's what I went to school for. I'm a clinical therapist by trade. So I
Okay.
do still see families and couples and
Right.
things for counseling, grief counseling, things of that nature. The third area is I have a book publishing company, which I publish my works as well as the works of others. And then the last umbrella is the media umbrella. And so I write for a couple of magazines and a newspaper locally, Thrive Detroit. I write for that. I have a couple of columns that I do. I have a radio show, essentially Sabrina, and then a TV show, Sabrina's Couch.
Sabrina, Sabrina, Sabrina.
Hey,
Wonderful,
look.
wonderful. No, wonderful, because we all can do more than one thing.
Absolutely.
And if, I always tell parents, pay now or pay later. So you got to put that in with your children as you're raising. You only have the one
Only
son?
have the one son. I don't know how people have more than one child. I don't understand it.
I tell you, it gets to be it gets to be more than a notion, and he's very, very handsome.
Oh, thank you.
He is very, very, very handsome. And so you have 12 laws.
And
We're
I call them laws for a reason.
Why?
Because tips are suggestions. You can take them or leave them. Laws are mandates. You need to do them.
I heard that. Now, the first law is train up a child. Can you just briefly,
Well,
tell
train
us
up a child comes right from Scripture, and Proverbs 22:6 says, "Train up a child in the way that they should go, and when they're old, they will not depart from it." So, what you infuse in your child, whether it's good or bad, they will return to it. So, it's important that you infuse in them. I always say that it's important that you help them to meet, understand, and then develop their own relationship with God.
Absolutely. You have to expose them.
Absolutely.
You have to expose them to it. Now, I saw this on the internet, but I also saw it on some show yesterday where they showed that little boy talking to his mother. The little boy couldn't have been over 3 years old, and he said, "Now, Linda," he's talking to her like he's a grown
peer.
man. Yes, Linda, we do that all the time. Linda, this and that. He was like scolding her. He's heard that somewhere
Absolutely.
else, and
Absolutely.
he's bringing it on to her. So it goes to what you're talking about. Whoever it was, be it maybe his father or somebody else, that child has latched onto that. Children are very impressionable.
Yes.
And so what they see
Is what they do.
is what they do.
Absolutely. But I think one of the major differences is if we can remember when we were younger, I know with me, I overheard my parents saying certain things, but I dare not repeat what I
golly.
heard because I knew I was going to get it, as they say. And so, and my son knew the same thing, that if I heard any inappropriate talking or if I felt there was disrespect, then I immediately get on top of it.
Right.
Because a lot of times we let it slide, we're tired, things of that nature. Oh, no.
No. And one thing I like about, after each of these laws, she has a questionnaire for you. On train up the child. As a mother, I attend church, yes or no? And if so, why not? These are just for you, your private things, so you can sit up and you could be honest with yourself.
Yes.
And that's one of the main things, is being honest with ourselves.
Absolutely. I say it all the time that you cannot heal from a thing until you're real about that thing. So you have to really dive in, and each of the chapters at the end has a questionnaire so that the mother can then begin to infuse that law into her life for her, that it'll work for her in her
It's
world.
a learning experience for both.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Sabrina, one day, I'll never forget this. I guess my son was in middle school. And that morning, I had really scolded him. He had done something.
Of course.
But I had really scolded him. I might have given him a pat on the booty. And I took him and dropped him off at school. Well, I'm a teacher by trade. I taught 39 years. And I went and I went to school, and I couldn't sleep with myself. I said, golly, how can I start my child off with scolding? He's going to have a bad day. I signed out of school, went over to his school. I picked him up, took him to breakfast, and I said, listen, let's talk about what happened. And then we went and picked out a washing machine. But what, and he was so happy. I mean, because we went and did it together. I said, "You helped me choose this, and this is a good one." So I saw my mistake. And a lot of times parents don't look at their
That is
mistake.
so good. One of the laws in the book I talk about being an example of real life. And real life is we make mistakes.
We make mistakes.
All
We
of us.
have a caller on the line. Good morning, caller.
I
Hi.
I was wondering, did you have book signing at churches?
Yes, I do have book signings at churches, and you can contact me on my website, which is sabrinajackson.com. All one word, sabrinajackson.com.
SabrinaJackson.com.
And I
No, I thought you had a book signing up on Illinois at the church's chicken.
Oh no, I haven't had a book signing at Church's Chicken on Livernois. I have not.
Oh wow! Thank you. But she does have them at churches, and
I do have a book signing coming up though at the Lighthouse, which is a gift,
oh yes,
the gift shop on Wyoming, right off Puritan, on April the 5th at 4 p.m.
right. People are silly. I tell you. Let's go to the law too. But you know, a lot of times parents don't want to admit their mistakes.
Of course not.
That's. I mean, just because you're grown up doesn't mean and you're older than this child.
You still make mistakes. Oh, my
You still
goodness.
make mistakes. Discover your son's passion, and that's very important. Tell us how you did it.
Well, I say discover your son's passion, and there's a second part to that. Then use it to your own advantage,
Mm,
because I knew very early that my son loved basketball. He used to sleep with his basketball.
Yeah.
He watched basketball. He didn't watch cartoons ever. He always watched ESPN. Just loved the game. And so when he was about 8, he came to me and asked could he play on a community team, and it was a fee. And I knew right then that was my hook. And I says, well, I can participate with my time and my money, but you must bring me a 3.5 or better.
absolutely.
And so from that time to when he went to junior high school, no problem. 3.6, 3.7, 3.8. But then in junior high school, he got a 3.3. And I shut it down. I did not let him play. I made him go to practice. I made him go to the game, but he could not play until that grade point average was back up.
You're better than me. I wouldn't let him go to practice. I didn't let my son missed his entire ninth grade playing time, and I made him go to the games though. I made him go and watch
Yes.
everybody else play.
I let him go to practice because I wanted him to still get the instruction because I knew that he was going to get it together.
Yeah,
Mhm,
yeah.
mhm.
I just, I don't know. I was really hard on that because I knew. And tell parents, I think you can tell them that. I can tell them that this child may be gifted in basketball or one of these sports, but the NCAA has what they call the clearinghouse.
Clearinghouse. Yes, yes,
And
yes.
you have to balance your grade point average with your standardized test scores
And community service.
and community service.
Yes.
So you have to make sure that your child, you can't let something go.
Right.
You know.
Well, that's the thing about having balance. There's more to life than just basketball. There's
Absolutely.
more to life than just academics. There's more to life than just church. You have to have a balance of all of it. So you can't just put all your eggs in one basket because if something happens in that basket,
Yeah.
that's, yeah.
I know something happens, and I've known too many parents to
Yes,
have done that.
yes.
Their child goes away to college, does not make the grade, unless he's like a hardhead. When I read in the paper my son's first year at the University of Dayton, I read they had all these articles about him, right? And then I read this article. It says he spends his time playing video games. I said, what? And I mean, the newspapers, see, they'll tell him, oh, I like to play video games and everything. Well, that cut the rug out from under him. I called his coach. I don't play. I called his coach. I said, is this the way it's going to be? He can't play. because I saw a couple of grades were suffering. And the coach promised me, he said, I'll keep a better eye, this, that, and the other thing. And you have to hold these other adults responsible too,
yes.
once your child leaves the nest, know?
Yes.
And so you discovered your son's passion. I had another one who slept with the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Never badmouth. Oh, this is such a great one. Never badmouth an absent father. And too many women do that because this is a male.
Let me tell you something. Not just for the male, just period. And there's 3 reasons specifically that I say that.
Okay.
The first reason is that the reason that is the father is your fault.
Yes.
At one point, you couldn't wait to see him. You couldn't wait for the phone to ring. You couldn't wait for the text message.
You hear his voice, you smile.
You smile. You just quiver all over. So you have to take responsibility in that it was your decision. It wasn't even the child's decision. Secondly, the word tells us that you should honor your mother and your father so that your days will be long. So don't cut your children's days short by teaching them to be disrespectful to their father. Don't you model that. Don't you be the one that talks about them negatively or talk about them being trifling. Or if you have an issue with them, keep that between you and them. Don't make that, keep the kids infused in that. The third reason is that you don't want people talking about your family member. Stop talking about your child's family member. That's still his family member.
Right.
That's still his daddy. He got his DNA.
Right.
Ooh, and
he wouldn't be here without it.
I say in the beginning of my book, I say a thank you. The first, my thank you is to God. The second thank you is to my ex-husband. Because without him, I would have never had a Marcel Smith. And Marcel Smith is the greatest gift I've ever had.
Absolutely.
Ever.
Absolutely. And your another one is be an example of real life, and you've kind of spoke to that before.
Yes, you have to be an example of real life. And what I want to talk about here is that so many women decide that because they're single, they're not going to date, they're not going to have a life outside of being a parent. Well, it's more to your life than being a parent.
Absolutely.
And so how do our young people see and experience what it means to date, to court, to have a loving relationship if we don't model that for them? And I'm not saying, because some people go on the other end of the spectrum,
right,
and they bring everybody home,
right.
and every week is somebody different. But you need to have an example of what it means to go on a date appropriately, have someone pick you up,
be respected,
be respected, open the door, treat you well, all of that, because they need to see that. And if they don't see it, how do they know how to do it?
Right, because you are really training them to how to act as a man.
Hello.
When you start courting, because he's going to start liking somebody.
Hello. Yes, he should. Hello. That's what the word says. That sooner or later, he gonna cleave to somebody else. He gonna leave you and cleave to someone else.
I know that does happen.
It does. And I am preparing my son and myself for that time, because I think a lot of women get stuck in, I really don't want him to have someone. I don't want him.
I don't understand that.
I don't think no one's ever going to be good enough for him. You crazy.
What is that about, though?
They crazy, and they latch on to their children in an unhealthy manner. They don't have boundaries. You need to have boundaries. I'm not all up in my son's business. He's 21. He lives in an apartment. I'm not at his apartment. He lives in Houston. I know people that will not let their children move out of state to go to college because they can't be involved. They can't see them. They can't. How dare you?
You raise them to be people of the world.
Exactly.
So that they can navigate society. If you keep them in a cocoon,
they're going to still be on your couch. They're going to still be in your basement or in your attic.
Jeez. Demand or give respect, and give respect.
That is two ends of a spectrum. You need to demand it, because I'm going to be respected as the mother and as the parent. But then I need to also give it. So I'm not going to talk to them any kind of way. I don't cuss out my child. I don't call him out his name, all of that. And I see that a lot in the stores and in the malls. You see parents talking to their kids like they're not even their children. You have to show respect and then give respect.
Yes, yes. You know, it's just like us with our parents. We would get so mad or something like that, but we just
You're
have
not.
to. We just
Suck
have
it
to.
up. You
Yes,
suck
suck
it
it
up.
up. And keep it quiet. You know, and just say, when I get to be a mama, I'm not going to be like that. And then you
You
start
do the
seeing
same thing.
yourself
Oh, my goodness.
becoming your parent.
I remember saying when I was a teenager that I could not wait to be a parent just so I can say these words. No, because I said so. Couldn't wait. But then, of course, we're kind of intellectual, so I was always explaining and analyzing and breaking it down.
I just couldn't leave it at that.
Right.
You just have to tell them because. And I think that's growth,
Yes.
because.
It helps them with critical thinking.
Right.
And we want them to be able to think critically, so we need them to be able to understand the rationale behind a decision.
Absolutely. Now, this next one is very important, and we could talk about that in the audience. You could chime in 313-868-0342, 868-0351, and that is teach them what it means to be a black male.
Yes, that is so critical because we do still yet live in a society where black men are treated differently, whether it be in school, whether it be when they're driving. I remember when he started driving, one of the stories that I tell is when he started driving, I told him that you will be driving while black. Not just black, but dark-skinned black. And dark-skinned black is different than light-skinned black. That is a fact.
You told him that?
I sure did. And so I told him to do some things. I said, first of all, make sure you don't have a bunch of people in your car, because you don't know what they have. And if they have something and they pull you over and it's in your car, you're going down, sweetie pie. So he didn't have a bunch of people in his car.
Right.
The second thing is to always make sure that when you get pulled over that you say, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. The third thing is to make sure that you can readily access your license, your registration, and your insurance. Keep it together where you can quickly access it, that you don't have to look through the car for it, because those sudden movements or looking up under your seat could cause you some difficulty. And then the last one is whenever you see the lights flashing and you know they're pulling you over, call me and put me on speaker and sit me in the seat, because you'll never be alone.
Never be alone. There's so much. I want to get to this one real quick because our time, we're sitting up here just
It's girlfriend talk.
I know. Coachability, confidence, and compassion.
Yes, I say you should infuse those three concepts in your child. Coachability is critical. If you can't take feedback, you'll never get better. The number one reason why people fail at anything is the lack of coachability. Because when you can't be told nothing, you can't grow.
Thank you.
Confidence is huge with our young men. They have to feel confident in what their skills are and what they're able to do and the legacy that they stand on as they enter into the world. I told Marcel very early, you are a king. You represent me, and trust me, I'm somebody to represent. And so I infused that into him to make him feel good about who he was. And then the last one was compassion. And compassion is so important, because if you are a compassionate person, it's very hard to run up and rob somebody or beat someone down or shoot them, because you have a love in your heart for people. And I love that he loves people. And especially with men, we were on a call and he had called in and someone asked him, that whole compassion thing, don't it make you seem weak? He says the one thing that all of us want and long for is to be loved. And in order to experience true love, you have to be vulnerable.
Absolutely.
That is a crucial thing to understand early.
I think that I got to have you back another time. Would you be willing to
I would come back. Absolutely.
Because I want to kind of expound on some of those things that you said. And you raise your child to be a man of the world. You raise him to be able to speak in front of any kind of audience, not be self-conscious because of, how he looks and everything. Oh, the music is on.
The music's playing.
Dr. Sabrina Jackson, thank you so much. You have been a jewel and are a jewel. Where can we get your book?
You can go right online to sabrinajackson.com, order it, and I'll send you an autographed copy.
Autograph. Oh, I got to get an autographed copy. Everybody, join us today with Table Talk. We have some great topics for you this afternoon. 1 o'clock. See you then.